Billionaire asked a waitress for financial advice. What she said changed everything. He didn't expect anyone in the small, bustling cafe to notice him. A billionaire, accustomed to attention and control, he thrived on the subtle fear and respect his wealth commanded. When he spotted her, a young black waitress moving through the crowd with quiet confidence, he decided to play a little game. A question about money, delivered with a teasing smirk, meant to amuse him and embarrass her. But the moment her eyes met his, he sensed he had underestimated her. Her first words didn't just silence him, they pierced his arrogance, revealing a sharp truth he had never been prepared to face. The cafe was a small, lively corner tucked between towering office buildings. The aroma of coffee mixed with the hum of distant traffic, and the chatter of patrons filled the air. To most, it was just another place to grab a quick drink. To her, it was a stage, a workspace, and a temporary escape from the cramped apartment that defined her life outside these walls. She moved with quiet purpose, balancing trays with precision, greeting regulars with a nod, and observing details most overlooked. Every shift was a challenge, a puzzle of timing and patience, but she carried herself with an unspoken pride, a calm assurance forged through years of navigating a world stacked against her. He entered with the commanding presence of someone used to being noticed, expecting the usual reactions: admiration, deference, flattery. He noticed her, not because she stood out in any conventional sense, but because she ignored him entirely, moving with self-possession. On a whim, he decided to test her, delivering a casually mocking question about financial strategies, fully expecting laughter or embarrassment. Instead, the room's energy subtly shifted. Patrons didn't notice the tension immediately, but it was there, taut like a wire stretched tight. Her response, when it came, would carry a weight far heavier than any joke or wealth could ever command. In that brief moment, the ordinary cafe became a silent arena. Every detail, the clink of cups, the soft murmur of conversations, the steam rising from mugs, seemed to pause. What was about to happen would challenge assumptions, reveal hidden truths, and confront him with the reality that some lessons cannot be bought. The question lingered in the air. He watched her approach, expecting hesitation, nervousness, a polite smile masking discomfort. But she moved confidently, her posture straight, her gaze unwavering. Years of navigating prejudice had taught her to carry herself with dignity, even when the world underestimated her. He realized almost immediately that he had assumed too much. He had assumed that wealth alone equaled wisdom, that experience could be measured in dollars and possessions. He had assumed that people like her would falter under scrutiny, under the weight of someone so powerful. He had been wrong. Her words came slowly at first, deliberate and precise. She outlined strategies that weren't just clever. They were born from lived experience, from making the most out of limited resources, from navigating a world that often dismissed her because of the color of her skin. She spoke of resilience, long-term planning, and understanding unseen barriers. The subtlety of her lesson was in how she forced him to confront his own blind spots, without raising her voice, without demanding acknowledgement. Around them, life continued, the hum of conversation, the shuffle of feet, the hiss of espresso machines, but a quiet tension threaded the room. People felt it, even if they didn't understand it. The balance of power had shifted. He, the man who had walked in expecting amusement, now faced clarity. She had not only answered his question, she had exposed his assumptions, revealing truths that no amount of money could purchase. With each word, he felt the grip of privilege loosening. What had started as a joke became a mirror. He saw how easily he had overlooked intelligence, how casually he had dismissed voices that society often silenced. She was teaching, not in defiance, but simply by being herself. And the lessons were sharper than anything he could have imagined. The pause between her words and his response defined the moment. He had expected amusement, maybe embarrassment, but never truth. She did not ask for recognition. She did not demand deference. She simply existed, calm and unyielding, and in doing so, she highlighted the fragility of his assumptions. Around him, the cafe seemed to hold its breath. He glimpsed the weight of her life, the obstacles, the bias, the countless times she had been underestimated. He understood, suddenly, that wealth and status were limited currencies, incapable of measuring true insight. Her authority did not come from title or bank account, it came from experience, resilience, and clarity of mind. For the first time, he felt a discomfort he could not escape. His jokes, his influence, his carefully curated persona, all seemed inadequate against the quiet power of someone who had been navigating an unjust world for her entire life. She had not raised her voice, yet she had unsettled him completely. The moment was subtle, almost invisible, yet transformative. It existed in the shift of understanding, in the realization that intelligence, strength, and perspective cannot be bought. In that instant, he grasped a profound truth: privilege can open doors, but it cannot teach humility, empathy, or resilience. She had reminded him of what he had ignored, what he had always ignored. After she walked away, the café returned to its usual rhythm. Conversations resumed, cups clinked, and the soft murmur of daily life filled the room. Yet he remained silent, grappling with a revelation that wealth had never forced him to face. He reflected on the countless times he had underestimated others, judged by appearance or background, dismissing voices that were never meant to entertain him. In her presence, he saw the narrowness of his worldview, and the reality of the human experience he had overlooked. Weeks later, he found himself seeking out perspectives he had ignored, engaging with people he had previously dismissed. Listening became more important than speaking. Understanding, more valuable than power. He realized that true wisdom and influence stem not from what one owns, but from the truths one chooses to hear. The waitress never sought recognition. She returned to her shifts, quietly building her life, unknowingly leaving a lasting mark. She demonstrated, with nothing more than honesty and resilience, that insight and value cannot be measured by money or status. Her lesson lingers. How often do we overlook voices simply because of the assumptions we carry? How many truths go unheard because privilege blinds us? And if we could just pause, just listen, what might change in the world, and in ourselves? If this story made you reflect, think, or feel in a new way, like, share, and comment below. Share a moment when someone challenged your assumptions. Let's start a conversation that goes beyond privilege and truly listens.